Hi, everybody. Welcome back. Thanks for joining us again. If you've watched some of the previous podcasts, you know John Kennedy, but here he is again, CEO of Actual AI, which is a very, very interesting product. Then we'd like to talk a little bit more about it today. Actual AI integrates with a number of services and tools. One such category of a tool, a smart AI source code editor such as Cursor or Windsurf. These editors have the ability to create rules that can be crafted to improve the quality and best practices of code it generates. This can help less experienced software engineers to be better guided in the development of the code that they want to generate. It's also one way to approach vibe coding as well, and we'll see how vibe coding ends up turning out for us all in the future. So the question to you, John, is: do you think that these types of editors and rules are the next, step in the evolutionary process in software engineering for AI?
Yeah, we actually see four stages of AI-powered software development. We quickly passed through the first one, around January 2024 last year. If you had tried out, AI-powered software development tools, you probably would have been trying out GitHub Copilot. And Copilot was just, did line completion. So you typed in things, it would finish the line. Super useful, but only maybe 45 to 50%, 55% added productivity or velocity. Then we stepped into chat. So that's Cursor, it's Windsurf, it's all the tools where you're having a conversation, and then the tool is generating a number of changes, to the code base across multiple files. It's like pair programming. It's like you've got a partner. And the stage we're actually stepping into now, the next stage, is more like working with a colleague. So when you're working with agents, they might pick up a user story and then execute that whole user story, build all the code and submit a pull request, and then you're reviewing that code. So much more like you're working with a colleague, and that's the mode that we're moving into now with products like Codex being launched, Cursor launching its backend agent, Devon AI, which was launched I think 18 months ago, is now really coming into its own, and we've heard multiple reports that it's getting quite good. So all of these independent agent tools, and then the fourth stage is really about having fleets of agents. LLMs are a lot better at their job when they're focused on a particular task, if they've been trained for a particular task. So in the future, having an agent that focuses on integrations, and one that focuses on testing, and one that focuses on front end and design, et cetera, et cetera. So being able to manage those fleets of agents is where we'll be in the future. I think, to the discussion of rules, we are an agent for engineering managers. Our mission is to help engineering managers build high-performing teams by getting them to AI-native software development processes. And a key part of that is rules. So one of the things we're going to be launching soon is an open source rules engine. So you can generate rules based on an analysis of your code base. That'll also be available within the tool, but we'll launch it as a CLI tool so that everyone can try it out. But rules are really a key unlock for AI-powered software development. Rules are how you can have consistent development between any different number of AI-powered tools. So if you're using Cursor as well as Devon, or if you have many different developers using Cursor, for instance, you need a common rule set so that Cursor or Devon or another AI-powered tool is conforming to your design decisions, to your architectural decisions, to your standards, and to your product goals. And so having those rules in the code base is key. Additionally, having metadata against those rules so they're selectively executed. So maybe this rule is only executed within this particular directory is also so important, because LLMs, when they're fed too much context, they get distracted. So you need a limited set of rules that execute per call. When you're having conversation, or you're asking an agent to go through and build code for you. So we see rules as a key unlock for people getting to AI-powered software development. And in fact, of the VPs of engineering and CTOs we've spoken to, the ones that have gotten there, the ones that have implemented with their team, and they're seeing the 300%, 500% productivity of their team, it's because they've implemented a great set of rules in the code bases which their developers are working in.
Interesting. That's very cool. A couple questions. One is, talking about the rules more specifically, kind of a two-part question. What type of rules do you see as important to consider, and why? And then if you could also maybe work in a little bit of maybe the security on that, because I think with vibe coding, one of the things that I'm kind of worried about is somebody introducing an exploit, maybe a less experienced developer who introduces an exploit, calls a library, and who knows what that actually is going to do. So anyway, if you maybe wax
Yeah,
poetically on that a little bit.
sure. So a really typical problem when developers are using Cursor or a tool like that is that you make one request, which is like, please design this visual component for me. And it does that. And then you make a second request and it designs another component, but with completely different design decisions. And that's really typical of developers before they've implemented a rule set. So one type of rule is establishing the visual guidelines, is establishing versions of different frameworks or libraries that you're using, so that when you request a visual component, it implements consistently. And there are a number of different, kind of framework choices you make, and and decisions, other design decisions you make. Plenty of categories that we could talk about. Security is another one. I don't think we've seen great best practice yet in terms of rules for security, but it's definitely a category that needs attention. I think a lot of people today are out over their skis, kind of coding a lot faster than they have in the past, and opening a lot of kind of of potential vulnerabilities just because of the surface area of the code. And so rules can make a great dent there as well.
Cool. Awesome. Obviously, we like to keep these kind of bite-sized for people's time. So one more question for you, and then please feel free to add anything else or question yourself on a question I didn't think to ask you. But so with Actual AI itself, how does Actual AI utilize these rules, whatever they might be? And then what expected outcome will Actual AI help with related to those rules?
Yeah. So the agent at the moment, it's reviewing every code change that goes into the code base across every branch. It automates progress reporting, and it evaluates velocity across the entire organization, all the way down to each individual developer and agent. Um, as I said, pretty soon we're going to launch an open source version of our rules engine that people can use on the CLI, but you'll also be able to use that in the tool. And because you've already granted GitHub access to your code, we can just flip a switch. We'll analyze the code, give you a visual interface where you can select the rules you want to implement, and then we'll actually create a pull request for you that goes into the code base, so that you can upgrade your code base for usage with Cursor or with Devon, etc. Um, One of the really helpful things about having a visual interface for this is rules are about standards and about decisions. And so you want the whole team to be able to understand the decisions and understand, and suggest those as well. So every time someone puts in a new pull request, our system will be evaluating whether you need to add new rules to represent the decisions that have been made in that pull request. And so having an ongoing system that's really easy to keep your rule set up to date is going to be critical as we all head further and further towards AI-powered software development. So, for us, Actually AI's understanding of your code base is enhanced by having rules in it, but we'll also generate rules that go into your code base to make it easier for you to migrate to AI-powered software development.
Hmm, that's very cool. Well, John, I want to thank you for your time. Like I said, in this podcast, we keep things a bit bite-sized. For everybody listening, John Kennedy, CEO, Actual AI, go check it out. It's a super powerful what they're developing and doing. You do yourself a favor and your team a favor to go and research these guys. So thank you everybody for tuning in one more time. And John, thank you for attending again. Appreciate it. And we'll see y'all soon.
Thanks, Dirk.